Hello everybody, it's Non-Scene News here, and today we've got a lot of broken dates today. So the first news we're going to be talking about today is coming from the United States, where we've just got a news that Donald Trump has tasked his special envoy to Ukraine, Keith Kellogg, with resolving the Ukrainian conflict within 100 days, though few people actually believe it's possible on both sides of the conflict. So Trump plans to actually personally oversee the negotiations, and let's just go over the plan that is being proposed. So, a ceasefire and a negotiated settlement, NATO pausing Ukraine's membership bid, offering Russia sanction relief in exchange for a peace agreement, and cutting off military aid to Ukraine if it is refused to negotiate. And we've also got news that Donald Trump says that he is likely to put more sanctions on Russia if Putin refuses to negotiate, and he further elaborated his stance on social media in an X post. So in an X post, Donald Trump stated that I'm not looking to hurt Russia. I love the Russian people and always had a very good relationship with President Putin. And this, despite the radical left's Russia hoax. We must never forget that Russia helped us win the Second World War, losing almost 60 million lives in the process. All of that being said, I'm going to do Russia, whose economy is failing, and President Putin a very big favor and settle it now and stop this ridiculous war. It's only going to get worse. If we don't make a deal, and soon, I have no other choice but to put high level of taxes, tariffs, and sanctions on everything being sold by Russia to the United States and various other participating countries. Let's get this war, which never would have started if I were president, over with. We can do it the easy way, or we can do it the hard way. And the easy way is always better. It's time to make a deal. No more lives should be lost. So Donald Trump stated that on his X post. So very big statements. And now let's go over some other statements Donald Trump made, but not about the Ukrainian conflict. The President Donald Trump has announced Stargate, a new American company that will invest $500 billion at least in AI infrastructure. It will create almost 100,000 American jobs immediately, Donald Trump stated. So I haven't done too much research on the Stargate company that Donald Trump is about to make, but apparently it has something to do with AI and maybe like making it better or something, but I'll keep you updated on that. We've also just gotten news that just 2 days after President Donald Trump has signed the executive order on immigration, the US military will send an additional 1,500 active duty troops to the border with Mexico, the White House said on Wednesday. So 500 Marines, Army helicopter crews, and intelligence analysts are among the additional troops. They will join the 2,200 active duty troops and thousands of National Guard troops who are already at the border ahead of Trump's inauguration this week. So Donald Trump is now sending an extra 1,500 active duty troops to the border of Mexico, and 500 of these troops are Marines. We've also got news today that President Donald Trump has also begun reclassifying Yemen Houthi forces as a foreign terrorist organization, reinstating the designated removed by the Biden administration in 2021. So the Houthis are now a terrorist organization again under American law. Again, I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got news that Marco Rubio has just been sworn in as the 72nd United States Secretary of State by VP, so Vice President J.D. Vance. So if you can see here, he did his oath and swore upon the Bible. And right after he became the Secretary of State of America, Marco Rubio stated on Good Morning America program on ABC and responded to a question about Donald Trump's campaign and promised to end the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. We've also got news today that Washington's new Secretary of General, Marco Rubio, also made his first overseas call, and it was to the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. The Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, spoke with the Israeli Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, to underscore that maintaining the United States' steadfast support for Israel is a top priority for President Trump. The secretary congratulated the Prime Minister on Israel's success against Hamas and Hezbollah and pledged to work tirelessly to help free all remaining hostages held in Gaza. The Secretary of State also conveyed that he looks forward to addressing the threats posed by Iran and pursuing opportunities of peace. We've also got news that new Secretary of State Mark Rubio will also be visiting the Panama Canal. So the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio will visit Panama next week, and they will discuss the transfer of control of the canal to the United States of America. So I already know that the Panamanian president stated that he assured the sovereignty and the ownership of the Panama Canal will remain to Panama. So the Panama president is very, very negative to this idea of the Panama Canal going back into the United States, but again, I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got some news today that President Trump declares that from February the 1st, the US will impose 25% tariffs on Mexico and Canada. We've gotten a response by the Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. Canadian Prime Minister Trudeau says Trump may rely on Russia, China, or Venezuela for resources if he enforces 25% tariffs on Canadian imports.
President Trump said that he wants to usher in a golden age for the United States. That will require more steel and aluminum, more critical minerals, more reliable and affordable energy, more of everything to run the U.S. economy full steam ahead. Canada has all those resources. The alternative for them would be more resources from Russia, China, or Venezuela. Canada is a safe, secure, and reliable partner in an uncertain world.
We already got news coming from Florida that Florida officially adopts the name of Gulf of America instead of Gulf of Mexico. In this map you can see it's Gulf of Mexico, but Florida has already adopted the new name. We've also got news that the Mexican president says that the Gulf of Mexico will be the Gulf of Mexico to the whole world, despite Trump's renaming it to the Gulf of America. So, interesting news. We've also got some news coming from Mexico that Mexico has just started building 10 megacity tents to prepare for mass deportation from the US. Almost 5 million Mexicans are living in the United States illegally, according to some estimates. So, Mexico is now building mega tent cities to prepare for this huge deportation that is about to come. We've also got news today that a new fire has arisen in Los Angeles. So a new fire has arisen right here near this lake. I believe this is the Castaic Lake. So a new blaze has hit LA, so this is another wave. So more than 50,000 people might evacuate Los Angeles as wildfires rage again. So a new fire has broken out and has burned more than 15 square miles in 6 hours in the northern Castaic Lake area. So this mountain area right here is now on fire as we speak, and I will keep you updated on that. And the next news we're going to be talking about today is coming from Russia. We've got news that Russia and Uzbekistan have just signed a strategic partnership program in military field for the 2026 to 2030 period. So the 2025 plan for the cooperation between Russian and Uzbek defense ministries and the program for strategic partnership between the two countries in military fields for the period of 2026 to 2030 has just been signed in the capital city of Uzbekistan. So the defense ministers of the two countries signed the documents. So the plan for 2025 for the cooperation between Russian and Uzbek defense ministries include 50 joint activities in all directions of military departments of the two countries. So we can possibly expect military exercises between the two countries, or maybe Russia teaching the Uzbekistan army modern warfare, what it's learned in Ukraine. I don't really know, but the exact details of this agreement, this strategic partnership deal, is still a bit classified, so we don't have all the information right now. Well, at least at the time of recording this video. We've probably got more news about it now. We've also got news that Russia has signed another agreement with another country, and it's the country of Central African Republic. So the Central African Republic, the ruling party of the Central African Republic's president, has just entered into cooperation agreement with Russia. So the agreement was signed remotely on Monday, symbolizing the growing partnership between Russia and the Central African Republic. The president of the Central African Republic has just returned from a 3-day official visit to Russia, where he announced this new cooperation agreement with Russia that was made remotely. And the next news we'll be discussing today is coming from Russia and China, where we discussed this yesterday, but we'll just quickly go over it today for new listeners. So we've got a news that, we had news yesterday that Putin and Xi Jinping held a video call conversation where they both made very big key statements about the new Trump administration and new trade agreements between the two countries. So let's just go over the key statements. Putin first confirmed his readiness to negotiate with the United States to settle the Ukrainian war. Putin and Xi Jinping discussed the relations between Russia and China with the United States, taking into account the new administration of Donald Trump. Xi Jinping actually informed Putin of his very own conversation with Donald Trump in a video call. Xi Jinping has stated that Russian and Chinese relations going to hit a new time high. The conversation between the two world leaders lasted about 1 hour and 35 minutes. So interesting news. We've also just got a news today that a North Korean 122mm MLRs disguised as a civilian truck was spotted somewhere near the border area in Russia. So we can see this video here. A lot of Ukrainian channels are posting this at the minute, but it hasn't been confirmed. So we can see this video here, we can literally see the North Korean 122 MLR civilian truck, disguised as a civilian truck, spotted somewhere in Russia. So the system was first unveiled at Pyongyang's military parade on September the 8th, 2023, in North Korea's military parade, what it did in its capital city, Pyongyang. So I don't know what to think about this right now. This could be fake, I don't know, but I'll just wait until we've got further information about that. And now let's talk about Ukraine. So we've gotten a lot of news from Ukraine and a lot of statements from President Volodymyr Zelensky, so buckle up. So I'm just going to go over the key statements that Volodymyr Zelensky made in the past 24 hours. So let's just get into the first one. Zelensky first stated that the US must send its peacekeepers to Ukraine. Earlier, Zelensky claimed that at least 200,000 Western peacekeepers would be needed to guarantee the security of Ukraine after the war. We've also got news that he stated that NATO membership is the cheapest security guarantee, Zelensky stated. He also said that Russia must at least return to the line of the full-scale invasion in order to even begin a dialogue. So Russia has to leave all of its territory gains on the battlefield in order to open negotiations with Zelensky, he stated, which that's going to have to change in order to get peace in Ukraine, which Donald Trump will have to find out. We've also got news today that the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky also met with the Finnish President Alexander Stubb. So they both met and they talked about strengthening Ukraine's defense security guarantees and tougher sanctions on Russia. Zelensky stated that our shared goal is a lasting and just peace. We are grateful for Finland's support and the preparation of the 27th military aid package for Ukraine from Finland. That that's not the only leader Zelensky met today. So Zelensky also met with the Albanian Prime Minister, where they signed an agreement on long-term cooperation and support between both countries. And Zelensky also met with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz, where President Vladimir Zelensky met with the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz to discuss continued support for Ukraine and coordination with partners to achieve a just peace. Zelensky stated that we thank Germany for the assistance to Ukraine in the fight against Russian aggression. We appreciate Germany's leadership in strengthening Ukrainian air defense and other sectors of its military, and for saving thousands of lives in Ukraine. Germany, Zelensky stated. But we've also got a note that the German Chancellor Olaf Scholz has blocked the allocation of a new military aid package, even though they both met. Germany is now stopping aid packages to Ukraine, while the German Chancellor blocked one. So, interesting news. And we've also got news that Israel is now considering sending captured Russian-made weapons to Ukraine, the embassy reports. So, a diplomat meeting between Ukrainian and Israeli officials have revealed plans to potentially transfer seized Russian weapons to Ukraine, marking a new phase in bilateral security cooperation. Israel is considering transferring Russian-made weapons seized by the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, in Lebanon and other places that Israel has done its operations, especially in Syria now. So Israel is now going to be sending, well, possibly can be sending Russian-made equipment that it seized from Lebanon, Syria, and other countries to Ukraine, and apparently they've got a lot of it. And we've also got news that in 2025, the European Union plans to provide 30.6 billion euros in budget support for Ukraine. This includes 18.1 billion euros under the G7 initiative, sourced by frozen Russian assets, and 12.5 billion euros under the Ukraine facility. So, interesting news. The next news we're going to be discussing today is coming from Moldova, where Moldova is ready to provide financial assistance to Transnistria only if it withdraws Russian troops from the region. So she's the president of Moldova is now offering to give Transnistria energy, money, in order to obviously keep Transnistria afloat, because if you know, Russian gas has now been cut off to many countries in Central Europe, including Transnistria, which is now facing an energy crisis. Now the Moldovan president is now offering to provide Transnistria money, generators, and everything, and fuel, but the catch is you gotta remove the Russian troops from the region. So we'll see what Transnistria responds to that. And the next news we're going to be discussing today is coming from Germany, where we've just gotten news that 2 people, including a child, were killed in a knife attack in a park in southern Germany. According to the news outlet Bild, 2 more have been put in hospital. So the suspect of the crime is a 28-year-old Afghan man who has been detained, and we've got no further news about this. So I don't know if I should actually add these kind of news to the channel. I don't know if you guys like these type of news of, I don't know, like shootings or stabbings or something, but I'll keep you updated on them if you care. Well, if you do care, we've gotten another tragic accident that has happened today, and this one is coming from Nashville, Tennessee. So we've got news. Sadly, we've got news today coming from Nashville, Tennessee, that 2 students were shot at the Anatush High School in Nashville, Tennessee. A gunman opened fire in a cafeteria and then reportedly turned the gun on himself. So the injured students were rushed to the hospital. Police confirmed the situation is under control, but the school remains closed. So the person who shot up the school was Slomon Hudson, and he is now, we've done some background checks on him. He's apparently he admired Hitler and expressed hatred for Jews, and he was ashamed to be black. So this is coming from him. The person who shot up the school was a admirer of Hitler, and he expressed hatred to Jews, and he was ashamed to be black. So very sad news coming from Nashville, Tennessee. We've also got news coming from Slovakia today that the Slovakian opposition parties have just decided to withdraw their motion for a no confidence vote in the parliament that aimed to remove the Prime Minister Robert Fico as cabinet. So a no confidence vote didn't go through in Slovakia to take down the Slovakian Prime Minister Robert Fico. So I'll keep you updated if anything changes about that. And the next news we'll be discussing today is coming from France, where we've got news that France has just issued an arrest warrant against Bashar al-Assad, the previous president of Syria. So Assad al-Bashar currently resides in Moscow, where he's probably not planning to visit France anytime soon. But France has just issued the arrest warrant of Bashar al-Assad, so I'll keep you updated on that. We've also got some news coming from the United Kingdom that the UK Ministry of Defence has just signed £61 million contract with BAE Systems with Forge Masters to produce artillery barrels for Ukraine. We've also got news that the United Kingdom has just issued travel warnings to its citizens regarding the Armenian-Azerbaijani border, advising against travels due to the regional tensions. So the UK is issuing its residents not to visit Azerbaijan or Armenia's borders anytime soon. Interesting news. We've also got news today that the Royal Navy has just blamed Russia for trying to spy near British waters. So the UK has warned Russia after a Russian alleged spy ship was seen near British waters, the Defence Minister of Britain stated. So the Royal Navy has been monitoring a Russian spy ship after it was spotted around UK waters earlier this week, the Defence Secretary has told MPs. So John Healey, the Defence Minister of the United Kingdom, said that the vessel of the Russian Federation, Yatar, was used for gathering intelligence and mapping UK's critical underwater infrastructure. He said the incident was another example of growing Russian aggression. Healey added that I also wanted President Vladimir Putin to hear this message. We see you, and we know what you're doing, and we will not shy away. So, interesting news. So Russia describes the Yalta ship that was allegedly spying on the UK coast as a research vessel, and it's operated by the country's Ministry of Defence. So it could be possible, who knows, but interesting news. And the next news we're going to be discussing today is coming from Israel, where we talked a little bit about yesterday how Israel launched its counter-terrorism operation into the West Bank city of Jenin. So Israel launched a counter-terrorism operation in Jenin, the West Bank. The Israeli Defense Forces currently storming the city's refugee camp, while the Palestinian Authority, the PA, withdrawed its forces. So I'll just outline what I know about this operation that the Israelis have started on this West Bank city. So Benjamin Netanyahu named this operation the Iron Wall operation. So what does it do? So what I know about this is that shortly after agreeing to a ceasefire with Hamas in the Gaza Strip, Israel launched a new military operation in another Palestinian territory, the West Bank. So the dubbed operation is called Iron Wall, and this attack involved in Israeli troops with air support raiding the city of Jenin and a refugee camp located there. So the Israeli Defense Minister described the Iron Wall operation as a show of force meant to intimidate the Palestinian groups in the area. So it's very interesting news. The Israeli Prime Minister said it was going to strengthen, this operation was going to strengthen security in other Israeli cities outside of the West Bank. So it's all just very weird news coming out of here right now. But again, I don't have all the information on that right now. We've also got some pictures of the aftermath of the Israeli operation in the Gaza Strip city of Rafah. So we can see here, we can clearly see Rafah has been reduced to rubble, and the Gaza's trade hub has been devastated by Israeli bombing. So new drone footage has been shown of a once a city that's functioned turned into rubble. So very sad news to see this. We've also got some news coming from Syria that the Syrian Foreign Minister Assad has stated that we are facing challenges, including a $30 billion debt owed by Assad's allies, Iran and Russia. We do not want to live on aid. The solution lies in easing US and European sanctions, stated the new Foreign Minister of Syria. We've also got news today that the Syrian leader has just met with the Belarusian delegation led by the Foreign Minister of Belarus, Maxim Razkov, in Damascus, the capital city of Israel today. I don't have the full news about this right now, but we'll most likely get the full news of that next video. We've also gotten a lot of news coming from Iran, where we've just got news that an Iranian fighter jet has just crashed and the pilot ejected. An Iranian F-4 Phantom fighter jet has just crashed in Kadradang. I'll put that up right here. This exact place in Iran, the city here. So it's in the west. It's in the west of Iran, and the pilot has reportedly managed to eject before the crash. So it's this small city in Iran here, in the western side of the country, where an F-4 Phantom fighter jet has crashed. So interesting news. We've also got news coming today coming from Saudi Arabia, where the Saudi Crown Prince, Prince Mohammed bin Salman, has told Donald Trump that Saudi Arabia is ready to increase investments and trade with the US by $600 billion. We've also got news coming from the UN today that the UN seeks $910 million for humanitarian crisis in Nigeria's northeastern region here. So the UN is now seeking $910 million for humanitarian aid to Nigeria in northeastern of the country. We've also got some news coming from Taiwan. That's an undersea cable connecting the island of Taiwan and an island that Taiwan controls here have been severed since this morning. The exact cause is unknown, but there's been a lot of undersea cables that have been severed recently. There's been a couple from Finland to Estonia, Finland to Germany, and Sweden to Estonia, and they've all been linked to Chinese commercial ships that have allegedly accidentally tripped these wires, or like ripped these wires out of place using their anchors. So it seems to have happened here again, but with Taiwan, where an undersea cable has been severed. So interesting news. We've also got news that Taiwan has slashed its defense budgets by nearly 7%, freezing half of the funds for its critical submarine program. So the premier of Taiwan, Shou Jung-tae, warned the decision could be suicidal implications for the national security. So interesting news. So Taiwan slashes its defense budget by nearly 7%. We've also gotten some news today coming from China that Beijing has just launched yet again another space rocket today. So China has launched its 557th long March mission space rocket into space on Thursday, sending the 6th batch of space sail constellation satellites into orbit. The launch was successful, so China launches its 557th Long March mission on Thursday. And the last news come today is coming from the podcast world, where we've just got news that Putin might give an interview to the American podcaster Lex Fridman, who recently, if you remember, interviewed Volodymyr Zelensky, which I personally watched and I found it very interesting, where the Kremlin actually did say that it's likely not to happen in the near future, the Kremlin reported, but that is a very interesting interview that I'm very willing to watch, because Lex Fridman, if you didn't know, he was born in the Soviet Union, he speaks Russian, and he really does want to do an interview with Putin. So very interesting news, and he said this on the Joe Rogan show, and the Kremlin has responded that he might do an interview with Putin, but it's likely not to happen in the near future. And that's all the news I actually have for you today. I am Non-Scene News. I'm trying to provide you news that medias around the world do not show you. I do these videos hopefully daily, so consider subscribing and liking. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all later. Bye.